You introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are.
Sure. My name is Eric Feldman. I am the Associate Director for Student Success and Academic Programs at FIU in Washington, D.C., which basically means that I oversee anything pertaining to the student programming that we do, internships, and fly-in seminars, for example.
Okay, and we're here to talk about the Hamilton Scholars Program that the Talent Lab is launching. Could you tell me what it is?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'll back up one second by addressing the Talent Lab, which you just brought up and which is right here behind me. So I mentioned that I manage all the student-facing programs, and that's what the Talent Lab is, because our FIU and DC team also engages in advocacy with our members of Congress on different research priorities and funding priorities for the university. So the Talent Lab encompasses all of our student programs where you get to learn and have experiences pertaining to your career futures in DC. So the Hamilton Scholars is our newest program as part of the Talent Lab, and it is a program that adds structure to your DC internship experience if you're accepted. So while there's no limit to the number of FIU students who can apply for and secure an internship somewhere in the DC area, and while our team helps every FIU student who we come across and know that is attempting to get an internship in that process, the 15 roughly individuals who we will select to the Hamilton Scholars Program will have access to a scholarship of $1,200, access to a housing option with other Hamilton scholars if they so choose, an assigned mentor, and perhaps to me the most exciting part, even though the scholarship and housing, and for example, is very exciting, is an in-person class in Washington, D.C. that really breaks down the policymaking infrastructure of D.C. There have not been many in-person courses in D.C. To date, and the opportunity to be taking a class here while you're interning is a very exciting part of this.
Okay, and a question that we get asked frequently is this named after Alexander Hamilton?
It is not, though. Alexander Hamilton is obviously an important figure in Washington, D.C., and so much so that the story of why Washington, D.C. is where it is today, as opposed to former sites of the capital like Philadelphia, is a compromise that Alexander Hamilton was directly involved in. So it's kind of neat that it shares that name. And I think the history of DC is very cool. So I encourage people watching to go look up the compromise that got DC where it is and what Alexander Hamilton got out of it. But this program is named after Ruth Hamilton and her husband, Glenn. Ruth Hamilton worked at FIU for many years, and the final role that she held at FIU before retiring was the director of the Graham Center. So even when I was an undergraduate at FIU, for example, all of the programs, all of the events in the Graham Center were overseen by Ruth Hamilton. And now that she no longer works at FIU, her and her husband have been the main funders of scholarships for students interning in DC, including through this program. It's an honor to be able to have her name on the program.
Wow, this program sounds pretty amazing. Can you tell me a bit about what the requirements are for someone that wants to apply?
The most important requirement is having a particular issue area about which you are very passionate. I won't even list examples of possible areas because I want to make the point that there's really no limit on it, but there needs to be this one thing that you're so passionate about that in your essay, which the instructions are on our website for what you should talk about, in your resume, and in your letter of recommendation, across your entire application, we should be able to see very clearly that this individual really cares about issue X, and these three documents show how you've already committed yourself to learning about and making a change in it, and that you know how one semester in Washington would help you advance that issue or cause that you very much care about. It's okay for students to not have so strongly committed to such a passion area yet while in college. I don't think that I had, and there are many internship opportunities here that can help explore issues. I would say the Hamilton Scholars Program is for someone who already kind of knows, this is my thing, this is what I want to make an impact on. There are, of course, other more technical nuanced requirements that you can review on hamilton.fiu.edu, including the number of credits that one should have, which is 60, GPA, which is 3.3, and things of that nature. But those are things you can quickly, scroll through and check if you have I really want to emphasize, that issue area thing being who this program is for.
Okay. And for example, I'm not a political science major. Can I still apply to a program like this?
Not only can you, should you? And the answer is yes, you should. This is open to all majors. I will mention here that it is for undergraduate students, and really the only reason for that is because it does include an in-person course, which is an undergraduate course. Um, but other than that, it is open to all majors. And in fact, a political science or international relations type, major will probably only make up a small fraction of our cohort of 15. It obviously depends on who applies and the strength of the applications, but we would love to see, a quarter of the cohort be, from the various science, technology, engineering, and math type majors, for example, and for, a wide variety of majors to be represented. Um, I will say, I think it's probably relevant here to mention that in addition to the things I mentioned before, the housing, the scholarship, and the course, the kind of main component of this is having an internship. And so you can do your own research on internships. We do have some information on possible placements listed on our website, but for students who have a specific science or technology, engineering focus and who are worried about whether the actual internship placement would be beneficial to them, that's where we can work together, where you're even advising us of some of the internships you'd like to apply for, and those would still be able to be part of this program if you're accepted.
Okay. And do you have any tips for applying? For example, how long should I put aside for putting together an application?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the first tip I'll give kind of relates to how I ended the last question, which is the research on the actual internship placements. Um, I don't want to use the G word, the guarantee word, but basically, if we thought your application was strong enough to accept you into this program as one of 15, we are going to do everything in our power to make sure you have an internship, and we have enough partners up here to make that happen. But what's really important is that even though that's the case, you are researching and applying to your own paid internship opportunities that you've researched and that are of great interest to you. And that's for two reasons. One, to make sure that the internship is perfect for you. You'll see when you visit hamilton.fiu.edu and the other pages of our website that we have a lot of great sample internships that nobody could argue are truly amazing experiences. But you want to make sure you're doing something that is a company you want to work for. That's a type of work that you have the right skills and background for and want to learn about. And the way you're going to make sure that happens is not by limiting yourself to the 20 possible internships that we're listing, but the hundreds of internships that exist in the DC area. And it also increases your chances of getting a great internship if you're starting to apply for things now. I'm not saying go and pepper hundreds of applications, but a strategic handful of internships that you apply to, I think you have a pretty good chance of getting something. So research them, apply for them, do that in consultation with me. On the website, it does say to, kind of reach out to me and coordinate with me on what you're applying to. And so this is not a process where you apply and you don't hear from us until you get accepted or not. I mean, even if you apply tomorrow, we can start working together tomorrow on internships you can apply to, because even if you didn't get into this program for some reason, you could still get an internship and still be, a participant in our overall intern cohort. In terms of amount of time, if you don't take the amount of time that it might take to get a letter of recommendation or something, the components of the application that you're writing yourself, I would imagine would take at least an hour because there is an essay you have to put together. And the website does say what the essay asks for before you click the apply button, so you can prepare that before clicking the apply button. Your resume is, likely already does address or should address, even regardless of this program, things you've done that might align with this issue area, but you're going to want to make sure that it does. In a letter of recommendation, you're going to need to ask someone for one. In case you're wondering, can you use a letter of recommendation that someone's already written you that's general in nature? My answer is that, again, all materials should get at that issue area. So if you're saying you're passionate about the environment, for example, and you have a letter, a recent letter of recommendation from the past year or so. It's not a rule. It just certainly helps it make it look better. That is very relevant to that, then go for it. If you have a letter of recommendation that's not talking about that thing that you say you're passionate about, then you should get a new one or reach out to that person to see if they can tailor it to that.
Okay. And for those students who were looking forward to summer internships, what happened to those? Where's the focus on now?
Yeah, absolutely. So FIU in general and FIU in DC has moved towards encouraging students to pursue summer internships and or in-person internships in fall and beyond. So we do not, just to make clear, believe that students should be physically relocating to DC during the summer. It's the safest course of action. We are working with all of our partners up here to identify existing virtual internships or to see which of our partners will be able to develop a virtual internship placement for our students. So you can reach out to me at ericf, ERICF@FIU.edu if you want to be kind of looped into those as we find them. And of course, we're hoping, as is everyone else, that by fall, um, things are permitting in-person back to normal kind of educational experiences. And it's certainly not too early to be researching and applying to things for the fall, including through this program, the Hamilton Scholars Program.
Of course, is there anything else that you would like students to know?
Certainly, FIU and DC is here for you even beyond this one program. If you're not familiar with what we do, we have a brand new website, which you, Mariella, helped us put together. So washingtondc.fiu.edu. Take a minute to get to know us, not only this program, but our fly-in seminars, which are fantastic experiences. We are launching more information about our virtual fly-in taking place in a few weeks within the next couple of days. So look out for that. And a variety of programming virtual Zoom sessions throughout the summer that are coming together, but I'm very excited about them. So we really hope to be engaged with you throughout the summer and support your ambitions to make an impact in DC or elsewhere.
Alrighty, I'd like to say that you can find all of this information on our website, and a lot of it will be on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, FIUDC. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Mariella.